This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good night, Sharon, Kirstin. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I am doing amazing. How are you?
I am excellent. Thank you for asking. What part of the world are you in right now?
Right now, I'm in Sydney, Australia.
Sweet. And which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history?
Well, that would be the book that I've written, The Answers Within. And in general, I would really say it's about the talent to really tuning inside of myself for finding guidance, answers, and really connecting with my soul and sharing that knowledge that everybody can do that. And we all have all these answers inside of us that give us guidance in life to really become our best self. You know, that is inside of us already, and anybody can tap into it.
What was a key experience that kindled this within you?
I was on a yoga teacher training in the Himalayas, and I was sitting in meditation. And I was actually having a little bit of a hard time concentrating. You know, monkey mind gets in the way, and my body was hurting. But then suddenly everything turned to mute. And I couldn't hear the birds chirping anymore, and the river that was outside, and the leaves. Everything was just really like mute. And I started leaving my body. And I started seeing all these visions of people all around the world living their lives, making their choices, having these desires and talents, and just this uniqueness, basically. And at that point in life, I was basically not that happy with my corporate job anymore, although I had been really successful, but I was looking for a new chapter. And then I suddenly got this sentence that said, "You created this life, and you can create differently." And then I came back into my body, and I was just changed. Like it is such a simple sentence and such a simple truth. Everybody knows that, right? But something happened within me in that moment that shifted me so profoundly that I actually got the feedback going back to my team after the retreat and after the training, that they were like, "Wow, there was one version of you that went and one that came back. Like, why are you so chilled and relaxed suddenly?"
No, naturally, when you go to conferences and you return, that happens. You know, people are like, "Okay, all right, it's time to get back down." But to see you yourself, not the information, you know, it's usually, "Hey, okay, I have this information to share with the team." But to see you yourself transformed, that's pretty intriguing. So is there someone in your family that had a similar type experience or functions at that bandwidth, if you would?
I don't think someone had the same experience, but I was guided onto this path of self-inquiry and spirituality by my dad, who basically started questioning his life when he was, you know, in the middle of his life, and the marriage was falling apart, and like everything he had built, from house and cars and kids and wife, and everything was perfect from the outside, but it kind of fell apart. And he was starting to question, like, why is this happening, and what's the deeper meaning of life? And I was still young at that point, so I was intrigued, and I just learned from him and with him, and I went on that journey with him.
That's amazing. Where's the best place for someone that's listening to connect with you?
On my website, SharonKirstin.com would probably be the best way, or on Instagram, Sharon_Kirstin. I love being on Instagram as well.
Tell us one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
Consistently, I've always looked at my shadow and at all those beliefs that are holding me back from actually living my truth. At one point in my life, actually inspired from something that my dad told me around, you know, either there's love or fear, but they can't coexist. And I've made a choice that I would only make decisions from a place of love and power, and not from a place of fear. So I never wanted to act from fear. And that is basically what I've been doing continuously over a long time, is really looking at myself and deciding and inquiring whether I'm acting from a place of authenticity and really from my soul, or if I'm letting my ego and, fear letting them get the better of me. So that is like belief work, and really looking at the disowned aspects of myself and integrating them and becoming whole. That's something that I've done continuously.
How does it make you feel when you look back to then from now?
Oh my God, so liberated. Just 7 years ago, I kept saying I'm sitting in this black hole and I just can't get out. Although I was really successful in my job, I felt really confident in my job. But when I got home and when I was in my private, I had bulimia. I was really battling with myself and I felt weak. I felt like a failure. And I was just in this black hole and this pain that I couldn't get out of. And this work and this journey really has helped me to come to such a place of peace and inner empowerment and inner guidance and clarity that, the word that I would choose would be free, empowered, and on purpose. That's how it makes me feel.
Suggest to someone that's listening why they should do or even consider doing what you've done.
For number one, inner peace, and really to find their soul alignment so that they can live a life that is really true to themselves, beyond what society, parents, friends, whoever else would expect from them. And just to live true to themselves.
Amazing audience, you're hearing it live from Sharon Kirstin. She is the author of Master Your Energy, Master Your Life. You can connect with her at sharonkirstin.com. Sharon, let's switch gears for a moment now. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Sharon, what's your earliest childhood memory?
Oh gosh, I don't know if it's the first one, but the one that comes to mind is that my mom was dropping me at childcare actually, and I didn't want to stay. I wanted to stay with her and go home. And then the lady that was taking care of us, because I was making a little bit of a scene, let's be honest, and and she said, "Oh, if you're still such a baby, then maybe you have to stay a year longer in childcare." And I was, I was shocked. I was like, "What? Even longer? No. Okay, Mom, you got to go right now." And I thought, and I thought about, why does this pop in my head right now to share with you? But life is about shifts in perspective. And A Course in Miracles says a shift in perspective is a miracle. And in that moment, she shifted my perspective, right? And that empowered me actually to let go of my mom and to step forth into whatever was waiting there for me. So I thought that was quite interesting.
Especially connecting to the shift you had even on that retreat. It was as though you were not going to go back or stay longer in that place anymore. So you wanted to speed track, if you would, into what was necessary. That's super cool to see the connection.
Yeah, right. I love it.
If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
That was actually a song by Salt and Pepper. It was "What a Man."
What a man.
And you should have seen me stand in front of the mirror actually trying to be fast enough to speak the lyrics to that.
That sounds like fun. Love it. All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready?
Yes.
Sharon, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Absolutely. My clients and customers.
Are you married?
No.
Do you have children?
Nope.
Do you believe in God?
Yes, I do.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes, I do.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
Not at all.
Wow. How about 3 hours a week?
No, I don't watch TV at all. I
you
do
mean
like
not
an
at
occasional.
all? Wow.
Yeah, not TV, but I do like an occasional movie. I love movies because they take you into this world, this other world, basically.
What about screen time, the phone and the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Probably around 8 hours, let's be honest,
All right.
working online.
What about reading? How often do you read?
Oh, every day.
All right, Sharon, if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Sharon Kirstin, what would you say that is?
I would say that statement is master your energy, master your life.
Love it. It's a total ingrained statement now into your life, isn't it?
Yes, everything is energy. And when we realize that we are actually not this dense body and that our mind can shift our vibration and that we can access any energy state that we want, we can become a match to anything and attract anything. And and I think everybody needs to know that and start feeling that and realizing that.
Love it. Sharon Kirstin again. This has been such a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Well, I would love to thank you, Angel. And if it's okay, I would just love to say that if anybody's interested in actually finding my book, the book is called The Answers Within.
So, what is Master Your Energy, Master Your Life?
That is basically my, I don't know if what you want to call it, but it's just something that it's the truth that I've found. And it's like a slogan that I like to use to.
Oh my, and to hear me say, the book Master Your Energy, Master Your Life. That's so funny.
That's okay.
So
That's okay. That's actually interesting that you said that. So,
well, I'm reading off of this amazing audience. Like, master your energy, master your life is the magnetizing message of the best-selling author, not the best-selling book. Oh my. Well, my apologies. All right.
No worries at all.
Well,
thank you for this beautiful chat and for sharing your energy with me. This was really beautiful.
Thank you, Sharon Kirstin. Thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-minute convos with Angel Jones.
This segment has been brought to you by Amazel Enterprise.